All right, let's talk about something that might just change how you look at your dinner plate forever. We're going to dive deep into the science of fat and the absolutely critical role it plays in building a better, healthier brain.
For decades now, right? Fat has been made out to be the bad guy in the world of nutrition. But what if we've had that all wrong, especially when it comes to our mental well being? Let's get into it.
So let's just start with a fact that is pretty mind blowing. If you take all the water out, your brain is about 60% fat. Yeah, you heard that right. The very organ that makes you, well, you, is built out of the one thing we've all been taught to fear. This stuff isn't just fuel, it is the literal building material of your mind. Okay, so let's really start to unpack this. We're going to explore the key players, the different kinds of fats, what their jobs are, and how the fat you eat directly shapes everything from your thoughts to your focus and your mood.
You see, the thing is, fat does so much more than just provide energy. It actually forms the structure of our brain cells and the myelin sheath. That's the insulation that lets them communicate at lightning speed. It is the bedrock for our mood, it's essential for making hormones, and it even helps keep inflammation in check.
So let's meet our first set of superstars, the essential fatty acids. And that word essential is key because our bodies can't make these. We absolutely have to get them from our diet. These are what are known as polyunsaturated fats, and they come in two main families you've probably heard of, omega-3s and omega-6s. Both are vital, but as we're about to see, getting the right balance between them, that's everything when it comes to brain function. And you can see here they have really different jobs. Think of the omega-3, which is DHA, as the brain's architect. It builds flexible cell membranes that are perfect for learning and making new connections. Then you have the omega-6, AA, which is more like the brain's rapid response team, handling important signals and inflammation. You need both, but they have to be in balance. And this really shows that partnership in action. From the moment we start developing, both AA and DHA are needed to literally build our neurons. Then, as we get older, DHA takes on more of a protective role, while AA handles all this complex signaling. They're a true dynamic duo for the brain. So what happens when that balance is off, or we just flat out don't get enough? Well, the consequences can be really serious. A ton of research now links low levels of these fats to a much higher risk of depression, anxiety, ADHD. The list goes on. But on the flip side, the impact of fixing these deficiencies can be just staggering. Get this. One study done on young adult prisoners found that just supplementing with essential fatty acids led to a nearly 35% drop in violent offenses compared to a placebo. And listen, this wasn't just some casual observation. This was a super rigorous, randomized, placebo-controlled trial, which you'd call the gold standard of research, and it was published in a major journal. It shows a direct, measurable link between what we eat and how we behave. Okay, on to our next key players, phospholipids. Now, if the essential fatty acids we just talked about are the raw materials, you can think of phospholipids as the skilled construction workers. They take those fats and build the most important structures in the brain, our cell membranes. Simply put, phospholipids are the gatekeepers of your brain cells. They form this really smart, flexible barrier that's in charge of deciding what gets in, what stays out, and frankly, how your brain cells even talk to each other. They're like the bouncers at the door of every single neuron. And here it is. This incredible structure is that phospholipid bilayer, and it wraps around every single one of your brain cells. Its health is absolutely non-negotiable for your brain to work right. Because if this membrane gets damaged or stiff, everything starts to go haywire. Neurotransmitters can't connect properly, electrical signals slow way down, and the cell becomes super vulnerable to inflammation. I mean it when I say the health of this gatekeeper is everything. All right, it's time. Time to talk about probably the most misunderstood character in this whole story, cholesterol. For so many years, it's been painted as this horrible villain, but in your brain, trust me, it's an undeniable hero. Check this out. Your brain is only about 2% of your body weight, but it holds almost 25% of your body's entire supply of cholesterol. Your brain literally hoards this stuff, and for a very, very good reason. Cholesterol is like the brain's guardian. It does so much. It shores up that myelin sheath so nerve signals can fire at top speed. It helps form the synapses where communication happens. It even creates these little lipid rafts that guide growing nerves. It's absolutely vital. So it shouldn't be a surprise that when brain cholesterol gets too low, serious problems can happen. Study after study links it to a higher risk of depression, aggression, and poor impulse control. This is one nutrient you really don't want to be running low on. Okay, so we have covered a lot of the science, the why behind all of this. Now, let's get practical. How do we actually take this information and use it to feed our brains better? Well, it starts right here on your plate. It means we need to start prioritizing these nutrient-dense, traditional fats again. We're talking about things like pasture-raised eggs, which are just loaded with cholesterol and phospholipids, organ meats like liver, good quality butter, and of course, fatty fish full of those omega-3s. And this is a super handy way to connect those specific brain-building fats to real foods. For example, phosphatidylcholine, PC for short, is crucial for memory, and you'll find it in egg yolks and beef liver. And then there's phosphatidylserine, or PS, which can boost cognitive performance and comes from foods like organ meats and fish. You know, it really all comes back to that old, timeless phrase. And honestly, nowhere is this more literally true than in the brain, where the fats you put in your mouth are actually taken apart and reassembled to become your brain cells, your myelin, and your synapses. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. You are the architect of your own brain, and your fork is one of your most powerful tools. Now that you understand the blueprint a little better, what are you going to choose to build with?